Wow, I'm kind of surprised I haven't talked about these yet. Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and today we're going to be talking about Lego Friends, the somewhat controversial series that's been out for a couple of years. So, Lego Friends, the idea is that it's Legos for girls. That's kind of how it's marketed as. They have these kind of these taller, more human-like figurines that come with it. You're got like all sorts of pink and teal and purple bricks that you're building with, and you're making things like houses and yachts and stuff like that. And of course, that has caused, a bit of a kerfuffle, because believe me, I understand that the last thing you want to do for a toy franchise is segregate your fan base. I mean, Sepia learned that lesson the hard way when they introduced Kung Zu, which failed really badly and created a divide in the Zuzu Pets fandom. Then again, with Lego Friends, I've heard some pretty crazy claims, like, oh, it's too late for them to try to do anything like put more girls in the Lego City sets, or flat out people saying that Lego inhibits a girl's imagination. And the thing is, they're saying this about like the $10 sets that came out with the Lego Friends, like you have like the workbench and like the performance hall and the car and stuff like that. At the same time, for the same price, the thing they were selling to boys was a dude with some weapons and a spinner on it. I mean, maybe a couple more pieces, but if you want to try to talk inhibited imagination, oh boy, I think Ninjago might have them beat on the $10 sets there. But anyways, I still understand where a lot of it's coming from, although there is something that Lego Friends has that I believe sets it apart from a lot of other girls' toys out there, because face it or not, Barbie is still big bucks, and a lot of people who tend to think more mainstream will still see these as things for girls, as a way for girls into Lego. But the distinguishing characteristic is you have to build the Lego Friends sets. With a lot of girls' toys, I notice that they require like next to no assembly. The Barbie Dream House is in a gigantic box for a reason. Whereas with a lot of boy toys, they have this big commercial push by saying, you put it together, as in assembling the toy you get to play with is half the adventure. That's highly indicative of a lot of boys' toys, and that they tend to be very, very modular and require a lot of assembly to really get going. Whereas with girls' toys, putting things together, that's something daddy does. That's something boys do, and that's actually kind of one of the big problems I have with a lot of girls' toys. And that's what sets Lego Friends apart. I mean, there's people who make arguments that it's like rare bricks and rare colors, but I don't know if that's really the most substantial argument. The most substantial argument I make is, you gotta put them together first. I mean, yes, you have the party on the fancy yacht, but you have to build it first. And what's Rosie the Riveter known for? She made boats. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of cases where Daddy is building the Lego Friends set for their daughters, but that kind of totally defeats the purpose of making it Lego in the first place, because at the end of the day, all you have is like a super expensive, super small play set, not really that kind of fun experience. You see, I've actually kind of developed a taxonomy with toys. You've got kind of in the top, you got aesthetic design and functional construction, and on the bottom you got nurturing and conquest. Now, aesthetic design, these are things like jewelry kits and fashion dolls and stuff that are all about things that you make or customize that are there mostly to look pretty, whereas functional construction is things like Lego and other things like that where you put something together. Or it could be something even like the Zoomer dog that looks super robotic and you can see how it all works. That is functional construction, in that you make something that does something other than look pretty. Well, I mean, it could look pretty too, but then, of course, you have nurturing. These are things like baby dolls, pets. These are things that you're like supposed to emotionally interact with. You take care of them, things like that. And conquest is kind of a catch-all term I use for, kind of these things like, being the best, being the fastest, collecting all the things, saving the day, beating the bad guy. All those sorts of things kind of fall into conquest. Now, girls' toys tend to be aesthetic design and nurturing, whereas boys' toys tend to be functional construction and conquest. That's kind of the typical way you see it across the board, or some combination of the two. Like you see these kind of like fashion pets or fashion babies and customizable toys that have some cool action to them, like Beyblades. Although, that's one of the reasons that Pokemon is such a brilliant franchise, is because it is a nurturing conquest series. You got all like the cute little pink critters that you can take care of, and you got the big awesome dragons, the big ugly dragons that you fight with. But, you know, you can be a boy who likes the cute pink things or a girl who likes the big ugly dragons, and frankly the game doesn't judge you. Heck, I don't think even the fan base judges you, and video game fan bases are notoriously difficult. Whereas Lego Friends is the opposite. Lego Friends is aesthetic design, functional construction, because you actually get to put it together. I mean, look at some of the stuff in here. Like, the fact that you put it together, I think, really sets it apart from your typical girl's toy, because you know, they got, like, the bed. Look at how cleverly this bed is put together with all these Lego bricks. I just can't get enough of this. They're so cool. And here's the thing, you actually get to put it together. That's part of the play value. So you get to see where it goes from point A to point B. You're assembling the furniture. I am in the camp that more women should know how to assemble furniture. Yes, mother, I know you wait to buy all the furniture you have to put together until you know I'm going to be in town. So the fact that you have to put it together is one of the things that really sets it apart from girls' toys. And, you know, this could be something, it's something that the girl is supposed to build, or something that dad and the girl build together, you know? Otherwise, you're totally missing the point of Lego. I mean, that's kind of my defense of Lego Friends. Although, I think it's a lot easier to defend these new Lego Elf sets that they've put out recently. This is, it's about a story of this girl who gets sucked into a world full of magical elves, and they have to find the keys to open the portal to get her home. Which, believe it or not, actually rips off My Little Pony a bit more than Avatar: The Last Airbender. I mean, if you watch how the characters behave, you can tell from how they talk which pony they're supposed to be. And if somebody says, oh, there's only 5 main characters, the baker is rarity. There's one for you right there. But these Lego Elf sets, I love them to pieces, because what they are is they are the aesthetic I was talking about with the Lego Friends, but it has such a huge emphasis on aesthetic. Like, with a lot of Lego sets for boys, you build something, it looks cool, and that's kind of about it. With Lego Friends, you are going to spend 10 pages making that tree look beautiful. And I personally find that really stimulating. I like all the clever use of aesthetic. It shows the kind of potential that Lego can have outside of, like, robots and boats and stuff. So these things are a joy to build, believe me. This is one of the smaller sets. This is like the $15 set. But I think I had more fun assembling this Lego set than I have some of the bigger Lego sets I've seen in a long time. Even like the Lego Chima ones. Because while they have the aesthetic, they're a lot more about the function rather than the aesthetic look. So I really enjoyed the Lego Elf sets, even if the cartoon show they made for them isn't that good. And look! Functional construction, because you assemble from point A to point B a little gimmick that opens up these gems and reveals the Earth key in it. So that's some function right there. You're actually making something that does something. So that I think is a really good feature. The fact that a lot of boys' toys are like empty castles and stuff like that, and the fact that you actually go out of your way to like furnish the things you make for Lego Friends, but you actually have to build the furniture. It's not like your typical dollhouse where, you know, you just kind of unpack the furniture and go. Building is in itself a very good thing. There are plenty of people who love to build the sets according to the Lego instructions, because building something kind of gives that sense of accomplishment. I really like that, and Lego Friends offers that. I mean, there's also Goldie Blocks out there. That's one that's a lot more heavily emphasized on functional construction. That's also for girls, but honestly, just the fact that it's a girl's toy that you have to put together, and that's the major play element, is something I think a lot of people have missed in their just utter dismissal of this. I mean, yeah, you don't create boys camp, girls camp. I mean, Lego is a little guilty of doing that here, but that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. So this is Lego Friends, and this is Kohdok signing off.